Okay, let's be honest for a second. The whole XRP ledger ecosystem, it can be really confusing when you first dive in. And that's mostly because it's home to two completely different worlds. Worlds that feel like they have absolutely no business existing in the same universe.
I mean, on one hand, you see all these headlines about huge multinational banks, the whole suit and tie world, using this technology for some serious heavy-duty international finance. And then, on the other hand, you've got these vibrant, kind of chaotic communities trading pixelated ape NFTs and launching meme coins with just like insane supplies. So how? How can both of these things possibly be happening in the exact same place?
Right? That's the million-dollar question. How in the world do you connect those dots? What does corporate finance have to do with pixelated monkeys and wild internet culture? It seems impossible.
Well, the key to understanding it all is to stop thinking of it as just one thing. Instead, picture it like a solar system. Yeah, a solar system with all these different layers orbiting a single central point. Let's break that down.
So at the very center of our solar system, of course, you've got the sun. It's the powerhouse, right? The source of all the energy. And in our case, that sun is the technology itself, the XRP ledger, or XRPL for short. This is the blockchain, the fundamental bedrock that everything, and I mean everything else, is built on.
So why would developers choose to build here? Well, for the people actually coding this stuff, it's like hitting the jackpot. It's incredibly fast, it's super cheap to use, and get this, it's been running for over 10 years without a single failure. Not one. That's a track record you just can't argue with.
And a big reason it has that speed and reliability is how it works. You know how a lot of blockchains use mining? Super energy intensive, kinda slow. Well, the XRPL doesn't do that. Instead, it uses something called a consensus mechanism. Just think of it like a really, really fast voting system where everyone agrees on transactions. It's way more efficient and a lot greener too.
So how does that voting system actually work? It's pretty straightforward, really. Just 3 quick steps. 1. A transaction gets proposed to the network. 2. A bunch of trusted servers all cast their vote on whether it's legit. And 3. A supermajority of them have to agree for that transaction to be confirmed.
And that brings us to the magic number. It's 80%. That's the threshold. For any transaction to go through, a full 80% of those servers have to give it the thumbs up. It's this high bar that makes the network both so secure and so dang fast.
Okay, so we've got our sun, the core tech. Now let's look at the planets and asteroids orbiting it. We'll start with the architects of this solar system, the nonprofit organizations that kind of help guide the ecosystem and establish the ground rules. And in this category, there are really 2 big players. First, you have the XRPL Foundation. Think of them as the master plumbers. They're focused on the core technology, making sure all the pipes and wires are working perfectly. Then you've got XRPL Commons. They're more like a greenhouse, a nursery for new ideas, helping projects and developers get off the ground.
All right, now it's time to talk about the gas giant of the system, the biggest planet in orbit, and that is, of course, Ripple. Ripple is a for-profit company, and it's a name that's pretty much impossible to miss in this space.
Now, Ripple is easily the most famous company building on the XRPL. Their whole focus is on that high finance world we talked about. They build payment solutions for huge institutions, like the major international bank BBVA, which, as you can see, had some pretty positive things to say about using Ripple's tech.
Okay, and this next point is absolutely crucial to understand. Ripple is a company that uses the XRPL. Ripple is not the XRPL. Let me say that again. They are 2 separate things. Ripple is a business with its own goals, things like international payments, crypto custody services, and launching their own US dollar stablecoin. But hey, a solar system isn't just about one big gas giant, right? You also have a massive, bustling asteroid belt. And that's where we find the universe of community projects. This is where things get really creative, really vibrant, and yeah, sometimes a little bit wild. This is the grassroots energy that really fuels so much of the innovation here.
This is the real creative playground. It's like a massive experimental lab. You've got everything from NFTs like the XP Punks, one of the OG projects on the ledger, to seriously sophisticated DeFi platforms like Sologenic, which is trying to bring real-world assets onto the blockchain. Then you've got the essential tools that practically everyone uses, like the XAMN wallet. And yep, this is also where you find that pure, chaotic, brilliant internet energy in the form of meme tokens. It's this incredible mix of builders that makes the whole ecosystem so dynamic and fun to watch.
All right, So we've seen all the individual pieces. Now let's pull back and take a look at the big picture, the entire solar system all at once.
So if you take away one thing, let it be this. The XRPL isn't just one thing. It's a system of connected orbiting layers. You've got the sun, the core technology itself. You've got the planets, the foundations that help organize everything. You have the gas giant, the big corporation Ripple, and then you have that whole asteroid belt, the community, building and creating nonstop. Once you see these layers, the whole picture starts to make sense.
And all of this leaves us with one last really big question. What kind of future is in store for an ecosystem like this? You have this powerful core technology, a massive corporation, and a super creative community all building in the same universe. Sometimes they work together, sometimes they clash. When the button-up world of big finance and the wild, unpredictable energy of internet culture are sharing the same digital playground, well, who knows what's going to happen? The outcome is anything but certain, but I'll tell you one thing for sure. It is going to be absolutely fascinating to watch.